take it, grasp it, and hold on to it and say thank you and execute on it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Driving Vision podcast brought to you by the Zeigler Auto Group. I'm your host, Sam Dark. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like it if you do, and leave a comment. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Future of Zag Today Driving Vision podcast. With us today, back again, Carson Hocevar, number 77, driver of the Spire Motorsports number 77 NASCAR. So, Carson, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I feel like a regular guest on this show.
Yes.
So it's a lot of fun. So I'm glad to check in, and we've had a great year, so glad to be here.
Your first season comes to an end. So how would you describe what's happened this first year in the Cup Series? This is your first full year driving Cup. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of progress from myself as a Cup driver to Spire as a whole and everything. Our results have gotten exceedingly better from the start of the year, and our performance and everything, and what we've been able to accomplish and do, and our point standings and everything. So it's been fun to do these throughout the year, right? Going and changing our expectations and talking about it. So it's been a lot of fun to do that with Team Zeigler. And I mean, at the end of the year with the Team Zeigler race car, I think that was our best overarching day at Homestead.
It was
the
awesome.
Final 8 competitors in points were 7 of the top 8, and then the 77 Zeigler Auto Group bright yellow race car was just there in the mix. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to be able to do that, and then cap it off with Rookie of the Year.
So to that point, I'm going to read you a list of names and tell me what puts these names in common. So I'm going to read a list of names, tell me what everybody has in common. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt, Davey Allison, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Carson Hocevar. What does everybody have in common in that list?
I don't know.
They all won Rookie of the Year in their first year.
Fact, we won Rookie of the Year. So
it's impressive because each one of those individuals went on. I mean, Dale Earnhardt, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, to create great legacies within NASCAR. What does it mean to you to join that group?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's a really good name, and even too, right? Like, I went back and looked at a little bit more recent too, right? Like Larson, Blaney, all of them won their rookie, category and whatnot, and then went on to win a lot of races and championships and everything. So, and they won it right with a team that had won races and championships in advance too. Yeah. So for us to be able to come in, with a newer-ish team and do that and win and get Spire's highest finishing point standings. We finished 21st in points. Their previous best was 26. Teams spend a lot of money to gain that type of spots, and we were able to do that with, realistically kind of the same program as last year. A lot of the changes in people and personnel wasn't going to get implemented till today, Tuesday after Phoenix, that we're seeing, a lot of renovations and everything to the shop, and new cars and new parts, new pieces, new people. So to be able to be as fast as we were, I think was maybe a little ahead of schedule, but I don't think anybody does anything slow from who I've met at Team Zeigler, right? They just go do it.
Let's go.
And make it happen right away. So we were able to do that on the 77.
So thinking about the parallel between NASCAR and business, that's one of the reasons why Aaron at the Zeigler Auto Group does NASCAR. Everyone does their job. They know their job. How important is it to you to have a pit crew and a team around you that executes at a super high level?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. It's like studying. It's like doing a group project at school, right? Like if you did your part and you show up expecting your teammates to do the other part, and they show up and was like, I overslept and didn't do it and this and that. You did all the work, and you showed up prepared, and but you don't get the result because your result was in their hands. So my crew chief or crew guys, overslept or didn't spend the extra little bit and tighten all the bolts tight, and something fell off, or pit crew guy was out the night before and slipping and sliding on pit road, and we lost a few spots, right? Then we're not showing up doing our part, and our results get affected, and then we're not having any fun too. So
Yeah.
Our pit crew that same day at Homestead had the fastest stop in NASCAR history.
Yeah.
And we had no mechanical failures all year that put us out of any race. So I'd say between the three parts of us on the 77 group, we all executed very well and at a very high level. And that's what makes it so fun to go race is we have those faith that our teammates are going to show up well rested and ready to do their part of the group project.
Yeah. So thinking about Homestead, your team broke a record that had never been broke an all-time record in NASCAR history, the fastest 4-tire pit stop in NASCAR history. Did you know it in the moment? And when did you find out? And then how did you celebrate as a team?
Yeah, well, we knew it was fast because we came down pit road 6 and we got blocked in just a little bit. Otherwise, we would have came out first or second. Normally, it's like a big, you're racing within the top 5. We're running 6th on down pit road, or maybe it was 5th. I think we came down 5th on pit road and
it was 5th.
Almost 3 spots, which is pretty crazy in the top 5 because those are the best guys. To almost gain 4 or 5 spots, I knew it was fast, but didn't know till after the race. And once we did, Dan, our car chief, made these custom medals basically that were hand engraved or wood engraving, like it was basically the Olympics, and had them all with their names for every crew guy.
That's cool.
And,
That's cool.
What the time was. That's gonna be, I think, a really, really difficult time to be. It's rare to get a high 8 seconds, let alone a low 8. That is, I think that's as fast as it'll probably ever get.
And was that the pit stop? Because obviously we were watching where you kind of got blocked in. There was one pit stop. Was that intentional by the other team blocking you in, or was that just bad placement by their tire guys?
I think it was just it just happened, perfect storm of he was maybe a little far right and the guy came around and they had a jumbled up stop and it forced the guy to walk around the other guy, and then he had his hand way out with the tire and holding it into pit road right when I was coming out. So it was just a perfect storm of bad.
What goes through your head as you're seeing, it's time to go and you're going to break a record, an all-time NASCAR record. You didn't know it in the moment. And you see a tire guy right there in your windscreen. Do you just go and you trust the process? He's going to get out of the way? Or
a little bit.
You came inches.
Yeah, a little bit. You cut it as close as you can get, right?
Yeah.
He is holding a tire, so if anything, if you do hit him, you're gonna hit the tire first.
Yeah.
You're more watching the cars coming down pit road, because we were one of the first last stop pit stalls, so we were towards the end of pit road. So the guys we were racing would already finish their stop. They're rolling down pit road. So as I'm coming out, I'm trying to be able to get out just quick enough that I can cut in front of them and basically block them in.
Yeah.
So that just cuts it really tight, is like knowing, all right, it's already going to be, I'm merging into oncoming traffic basically, and now this little old lady's in front of me basically. And I'm going to have to swerve around, and they're taking their sweet time. But yeah, you're just trying to map out this guy. If he can move out of the way, I can straighten this up, and I can maybe get in front of these guys that are already going 50 mile an hour.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it was awesome to watch. And it's interesting when you think about this past season with Zeigler and you driving the 77. Aaron always says most people in business make the mistake of not being aggressive enough. And he always says, we will never make that mistake. And I still remember the press conference at Motorsports. He tells this story often, where a reporter said, hey, what would you say to Carson? Like he's an aggressive driver. Do you have a problem, with him being as aggressive? And Aaron recited that thing about most people aren't aggressive enough. We want him to be aggressive. We love that he's aggressive. You showed that, and you defined yourself this season in NASCAR to some criticism. What would you say at the end of the season about several moments throughout the season where you demonstrated aggressiveness? Some cases paid off. Some cases drew you intense criticism.
It's hard to map out a single one, but Jeff Dickerson, our owner at Spire, told me this, and I didn't think about it until now. Tyler Reddick racing for a championship, Final Four, and we were racing up inside the top 10 at Phoenix, and we ran as door to door as we could get for 10 laps straight. He couldn't lose a spot. Like, he was, kind of bleeding some spots. His other Final Four competitors were up the road, and last thing he needed to be doing was losing a spot to us and losing a few more. So he's trying to hold on as much as he can to kind of keep in touch. And he, made it as tight as we could make it to try and hold me up and try to hold me down and pinch me down. And Jeff, took it as a sign of respect watching it, right? Reddick basically put his championship into my hands and our hands on our 77 group, that he had enough confidence in us to be within an inch, and I wasn't going to get loose and get into him or spin out or get loose or drive into him or push it too hard, knowing what he's racing for. And I think that's the difference, right? Start of the year, they never would have, he would have gave extra room or frustrated I was even next to him. But, by the end of the year, and racing for the biggest trophy you can get, he had enough faith in the guy that still had rookie stripes to run an inch off of our door. And I think helping, we raced super hard with him at Homestead. He went on to win the race, but we were up there racing with him, throwing slide jobs. And one of the lines that I was doing to make speed, he found later and then went on to win the race with it, which was kind of funny. But I think that's the biggest thing, is just seeing, the guys racing that go win races and have a fight for a championship, hold a lot of respect or faith that we're a top-tier car, becoming a top-tier car, that we can go up and run with them. But, we're not going to be a dart without feathers either while doing it.
I love it. Trust and respect, two huge and important principles in business, right? And ones that we at the Auto Group live by, we believe in. And it's interesting, at the beginning of your career, at the beginning of the year, people knew what you had done in the Truck Series, but hadn't seen you race Cup yet. So you had to earn that trust and you had to earn that respect. How do you take some of the drama that happens during the course of the season, kind of set it aside and just continue to perform? So, for example, when you were fined, right, you bumped, I forget even who it was, you bumped someone, they got all bunched up, even though it could have been a brake check or whatever. Like, how do you set aside drama to continue to perform knowing that you can? Because trust and respect only happen on the other side of experience, and you had to get through the experience to earn that trust and respect.
Yeah, luckily, you race every week. So, with that one, we were able to go to Chicago the very next week and ran top 5 there for the later half of the race and run good. So when you go to the racetrack and run good, you instantly forget about it.
Success kills it.
There's one lap, right? You see the guy you just got into, and that instantly says, if you just run one corner next to each other and you don't hit, it's the sign of, all right, we're done. We're done. That's moved on, right? If you see a guy that you've drove into the next week, and they even if they said in the media or anything or whatnot, right? I'm gonna get you, or you got one coming. If you run side by side the next week and you guys don't touch, I feel like that's like the driver code. Like, all right, we're done. I'm not messing with you. You're not messing with me. I'm gonna pass you and move on. That's I feel like the easiest thing, and kind of the way I feel like it's gone. 2 months down the line, the second you touch again, everybody remembers. The second you get race cars touch, it remembers, right? But if you're around each other, you guys don't touch race cars, it's like you forgot about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you think about this past season: 1 top 5, 6 top 10s, 15 finishes. Your third place career best at Watkins Glen in September. What are some of the best moments of this past year? What stands out to you where you're like, man, I'm so glad that happened? You felt a sense of satisfaction at the result or the way the team performed. What were some of the highlights for you?
Having a shot to win a Cup race at Watkins Glen was super special. You're just lining up on the three green-white checkers on the front row is super special, and having a shot to win a race. But also, I mean, I kind of go back to Homestead, but like that was the probably, we got stage points in both stages and finished top 10 in that one. And then you're in one of the most crucial races, right? Of final 8.
Yeah.
Everybody's bringing the A of 8, like their best of best stuff. They're, the big teams, they find even more resources. The unlimited amount of resources become a little bit more unlimited. People's pockets get deeper. Manufacturers, sponsors, team owners, right? It turns, when you get to the final 8, it's like, all right, well, whatever we can get to Phoenix, right? And whatever, this part or this piece or this extra DIL time or this whatever. So for us to, basically go in there business as usual and compete that high or compete that well, I think is super crucial for us and super rewarding. We looked like a final 8 car. If you plugged us into the final 8, it wouldn't be like, man, how did they get there? They're just taking up a spot. Why in the world are they there? If TV accidentally made our name yellow playoff banner, you would be like, yeah, that makes sense. Kind of in the mix. Kind of in between all the final 8 guys.
So you mentioned Jordan's team won Homestead, right? Michael Jordan. Basketball, great. Actually, so I texted pictures to my kids of Michael Jordan early in the year, the first race he won.
At Talladega.
And at Talladega. And they're like, who is that? And I'm like, come on, it's Michael Jordan. You know who Michael Jordan is, I assume, yeah? Basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So obviously you gained their trust. He probably knows who you are. Like any thoughts on Michael Jordan, and does he know who you are, and did you get a chance to say hi to him or anything? I mean, he's arguably one of the most famous. I guess he's a controversial owner because he's got stuff going on with NASCAR. But,
I've never met him like face to face, like, hello, I'm so and so.
Yeah.
I would imagine he knows me only for the sake that I'm sure he saw me at some point and wondered who I was because I'm almost his height. Or closer to his height. Yeah, that's like early in the year, I was like, my dad was like, maybe Michael knows who you are. I was like, if so, he is asked, who is that? Like, why is my driver like so like, because Reddick's super short.
So
I'm sure at some point he's like, who is that? Like, why can't my driver be a little taller?
You're the tallest driver in Cup Series, yeah?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, hey, I want to share something with you. We just got these in. We've been waiting for these all year.
I was just saying, I see it behind you.
The die-cast cars are in. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes. We have a limited number of these available through Motorsports. If you're in town in the next few weeks, we'd love to have you come by and sign a bunch of these.
That'd be great.
It'd be great for fans. Also, I think we can get them through your parents' shop as well. Here in Portage, Michigan, but it's also available through Zeigler Motorsports. I'll put a link out. But what a great way to commemorate your first year in the Cup Series, but then also to celebrate Rookie of the Year status. What does it mean as we wrap up for you to have driven a car with the Zeigler logo on it? Zeigler, a group that's in your hometown. You grew up in Portage, Michigan, Kalamazoo-based Zeigler Auto Group. What does it mean to you to have driven this 77?
Well, it means a lot. I've seen the Zeigler name as a kid, going off, driving past Motorsports, 1,000 times, right? That big facility right behind the Motorsports, their big parking lot. I forget the name of the deal, but when I was racing,
the Wing Center, Center, yeah.
Medlink.
I don't know. Maybe
right behind it or something.
Yeah.
But right behind it, there's a big, huge parking lot. Well, that's where I would get picked up to go racing. So
that's cool.
It was the biggest parking lot where our hauler growing up when I raced late models would be coming from Holland, be coming down from Grand Rapids, and rather than us go north to come back south, they were just like, all right, well, we're gonna drive and I'll just pick you up because my neighborhood can't fit us, a big, huge trailer.
Hauler.
So we picked that parking lot to get picked up. So there's so many times we'd go and then we go test. When I was 13, I had a handful of buddies during COVID time that worked at Motorsports or would buy parts at Motorsports and then go test at the dirt bike track out back.
Okay, we got to tell this story because we can tell it now. The season's over, right?
Yeah.
There was an embargo of sorts. So we had you out right before the MIS race. And we did a press conference. You had a meet and greet. It was a heck of a lot of fun. We had fans down the road waiting in line to meet you and sign, get your autograph. After that, you went out to Motorsports and took a side-by-side out with Aaron Zeigler. Tell us what happened there, because I don't think we've announced this. There's some pictures maybe out there.
Yeah. Well, first I watched Aaron take a jump, and I was judging off his speed. I was like, all right, well, Aaron's, I'm sure, is going to work up into this a little bit. And I'm following him, and we're going pretty fast. I've never taken a Can-Am over a jump, and I'm like, man, we're going a little fast. And luckily, I gave myself just a little bit of space. And right before I went to jump, I remembered who I was riding behind. I was like, oh, wait, hold on. I think if I think Aaron Zeigler is going to work up into anything, I don't know Aaron Zeigler.
Yeah.
So he fires the thing up, and it clears a lot more air than I would have expected. So I'm glad I had that realization and realized and lifted and kind of putted over a jump and everything. Well, then, after a while, I kind of let him go, and he was going way faster than I was. I just took the turns fast. I did not want anything really to do with the jumps. And
it's a dirt track. Some big jumps, though.
Well, it just rained, and there's a lot of mud. And
a lot of mud.
A lot of grooves and everything. So I had four-wheel drive, and being a race car driver, I was like, I started figuring out how to get two-wheel drive into it so I could slide it all the way around. I was sliding every corner like a dirt late model or street stock, or even when the cup cars used to be on dirt, just sliding it, turning right to go left type of deal, and just sliding and drifting the whole corner. And eventually I caught a rut and went over and through the corner and put it on my lid. It was the only corner with, luckily, no cameras around. But we had a GoPro on it. But there was no cheering section, I should say, that watched me flip this thing. So everybody started kind of wondering, all right, well, where am I at? Because I come back by, and sure enough, here I am walking, waving, like, hey, like, can you help me flip this thing back over? But luckily, we had a GoPro on it, so it was funny. But luckily, there wasn't a cheering section of everybody in front that. That would have been like, oh, okay. Well, luckily, I didn't scare anybody, right? Because I think if it went over, everybody would have been nervous or anything.
Because the last thing you want.
By the time they realized I flipped over, they were seeing me walking perfectly fine. So it was about perfect. If I was gonna flip one, it was perfect. I think Aaron had more fun that I did flip it.
He did. He did.
Yeah, then we got to take pictures on it and everything and flip it back over. So. Yeah, I mean, everything's good. Everything is not worth doing if it doesn't come with a good story. So,
I got to tell you, it was so much fun because I was standing with a bunch of the camera folks and kind of our group that was kind of towards the entrance, and we recognized that you hadn't come back, so we all went running over, saw it flipped over before we saw you, and we're like, oh no. We had this thought in our head that we've got this great cup driver who just got injured right the day before MIS. But it's a tribute to you that you just do things all out. And that's with, I think, any athlete, any competitor in business. It's very similar. You're committed to the result and you want to win. And there's just something about that desire to win that breeds that success. And so we, on behalf of the Zeigler Auto Group and the entire podcast audience, congrats to you for Rookie of the Year this first year and the success that will come. We'll make an official announcement on social shortly, but, Zeigler's going to continue to sponsor you this next year. So we're excited to have you back and to have those Zeigler logo back on the car this next year, and just to see you succeed and continue to win. And actually, as a closing, before I ask you any message for anybody in the Kalamazoo area, what hopes do you have for this coming year? You achieved that Rookie of the Year, which had to be a big goal. What do you expect in year two?
Yeah, I'd like to make the playoffs. That would be the biggest thing for sure. Whether it be point our way in or get one win or whatever. But I think that's realistically, right? That my goal was to get top 20 in points and win Rookie of the Year. Because if you were top 20 in points, you're really not that far away from a playoff run. You're talking 4 or 5 spots and you make the playoffs. So for us, I think if we can be 15th, 16th points. It opens us up, right? If, consistently you're 15th, 16th best guy in points, it all depends on who wins behind you, if they knock you back out of the playoffs or not. It'd probably take a win to normally does. But, ultimately, if we can just control our own fate, at least, and put ourselves in around 15th, 16th in points, puts yourself in that spot. And if you're running that good, eventually you're going to get the opportunity to win a race or back into one, or whatever case may happen. Eventually you're going to get one stroke of good luck and opportunity It just depends if you're able to take it and grasp it and hold on to it and say thank you and execute on it. And I think that team's capable of doing that.
That's awesome. Well, any closing comments? Anything you want to say to the folks in Kalamazoo, Portage, your hometown, or to our audience?
No, a whole lot. Just appreciate them and the support of Zeigler Auto Group and what they do from the community and all the employees, men and women at Team Zeigler. It's been a lot of fun to continue to meet, and looking forward to the Christmas party being in Kalamazoo and not Chicago. I love Chicago. Selfishly, I'm pumped that I get to have the Christmas party and then go home to my childhood home and not a hotel. But also, Chicago was a little windy. I've gotten accustomed to the North Carolina weather, probably a little bit too much.
Yeah, you're soft now.
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the off season. I'll definitely be home, and seeing everybody, and the men and women, customers, clients, employees. Everybody at Team Zeigler. It's been a lot of fun, and hoping to see them at a racetrack if I don't get to see them in the off season.
Well, Carson Hocevar, thank you again. Congratulations, Rookie of the Year. Team Zeigler and our audience, if you want a diecast 77 autographed, you can go to the link in the show notes and check that out. Again, we appreciate having you, and good luck, Carson Hocevar, in the off season. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
A big thanks to Carson Hocevar for contributing to this week's podcast. Until next week, how are you driving vision today?